If you were like us when we started with a small truck and budget and still wanting to full-time, those ultralight trailers are looking really good. Here are 5 things we wish we would have known back then.
And why we won't be going with an ultralight again.
Welcome back to No Ordinary Path, everybody. My name is John, this is my lovely wife Kristen, and this is Cinder. We are a travel nurse family. I'm the nurse. And we go all over the United States in Windy, our 37-foot travel trailer. We have 3 kids, and it has been a crazy adventure.
It has.
It has. Now, Windy's life here with us and our family is getting close to coming to an end.
We get a lot of comments, a lot of comments from people who are like, well, you should have known better. You got an ultralight trailer. So we're making this video because, yes, we know.
When we got started, we picked this trailer out largely because it was budget-minded, and also I was driving with an F-150, guys, a half-ton truck. We needed something that could get us on the road, and that's what this trailer was about.
We were able to pay for this with cash, and we already own the truck. So what's an ultralight? They go by lots of different names. Usually if they say light or something, that means that they are a lighter weight trailer.
Right.
Meaning that they have cut costs, they have cut weight. Generally, they usually are in the 6,000s or less dry weight.
That's right.
And 6,000s like being the top. Ours was 6,700 dry.
Yeah, but Windy was also like the biggest of those type of trailers.
Yeah, she's very long.
That's right. She's 37 feet from the tongue to the end of the bumper. So she's big. Made a lot of people nervous when I was pulling it with a half-ton truck. And if you don't know what that's about, check this video out right up here. We're always going to circle back to the fact that this got us out there. We wouldn't, I mean, we
don't regret it.
We don't regret having, Windy's been a great trailer. If it's an ultralight that's going to get you guys out there, buy an ultralight.
Ultralights in general are a really great weekend camper option.
Yep.
When you're researching why ultralights are different than regular travel trailers, it's hard to get a clear grasp of what they mean by cheaper materials. Like, that's very broad. So we're going to talk about 5 specific things that are problematic for full-timers. The first one is the non-walkable roof.
To build a walkable roof, it's going to have more structural support. It's going to have thicker insulations, which we'll get to, all those kind of things. So just to have it, right? So it's going to be heavier. You also usually have a way to get up there, so there's a ladder that's going to add weight. All those things play into it. So not having it, was it a big deal? Yes and no. I tell you what, it sure would have made it a lot easier to do a lot of maintenance and things like that. When I was getting up there, when we installed the fantastic fan that we upgraded,
and Halo View,
all the Halo View backup cameras, those kind of things, and even just the vent covers, it's kind of a pain in how you're supposed to do it.
You're going to want to go up there and check your seals and
maintenance.
Possibly clean it or reseal it.
Right.
Plus, if you're going to an event, we don't go to a lot of events, but we do boondock. And it would be so cool if we could get up on our roof and just look out or sit up there. And you can't do that, obviously, with a non-walkable roof. The second one, going from the ceiling to the floor. Are
we going to go from the windows to the walls next?
Okay, we only recently discovered this. Obviously, we knew that they cut back on materials and things, but the floor is a huge problem in ultralight trailers for full-timers. That's
right. So what the issue is that the floor in Windy is soft. And I don't just mean like it's got a little dip in it. I mean like it sinks down significantly down.
In multiple places.
Initially, we thought it was water damage or something like that, but as we have learned and researched stuff for this video, we've discovered that no, it's actually just all manufacturing and how they're built.
Yeah.
How are they built?
They have a very tiny piece of board. I think it's a 1/4 inch of board, and then it's
some
foam.
of them probably have different ones.
They probably have different ones, and then it's just foam board.
Yeah.
And then another tiny little piece of wood, and it all sits on the braces on the bottom, which are spread pretty far apart. If you walk through our rig here, you can tell exactly where the supports
where the braces are. Yeah.
And in between, what happens over time is that foam compresses in the areas where you most frequently walk.
Right. So for us, it's the kitchen right next to the our table area in front of the refrigerator, and also in the bunkhouse area where the kids are constantly jumping down from the bunk beds or just kind of hanging out, and those are the areas also right in front of the door, the front door.
Yes.
It's all soft.
Sometimes you can hear creaking noises, which I can only imagine is like the splintering of the wood board on top. which is terrifying.
So the only thing that's probably holding it up in a few places is the fact that the vinyl on top is still intact.
So a lot of times if you try to claim that on some kind of a warranty, they aren't going to cover it. Insurance is not likely going to cover it. And fix it, you have to rip the whole thing up, place extra supports in there, and refloor everything.
With obviously not just foam board and other little pieces of plywood. All that being said, we didn't really start seeing this problem until like what, year 3?
Right.
Yeah, so we had a few good years there where it was not an issue, but I don't know if we could last another year without somebody literally falling through the floor.
The insulation of the walls. Now, we've done a previous video in our winter RVing series where we pulled up the R value of Wendy, and on the brochure it says R-11. So we assumed and stated in that video that our walls were R11. We have dug a little deeper. They are not.
No.
The R11 is referring to the floor.
And so, just in case, real quick, if anybody doesn't know what the R value is, I don't know what the R stands for, but basically it's a measurement of how well something is insulated. So the lower the number, the less insulation it has. The greater the number, the better insulation there is.
Right.
Yeah.
So in a house, for example, normally your exterior walls will be somewhere in the 40s.
So like R40?
Yeah, R40.
Okay.
The ceilings or the roof would usually be like an R60. Okay, so in Wendy, we have actually a 7 on the walls, R11 on the floor, and R11 on the ceiling. It is an extended season RV. That actually might mean that it's an even greater R value than most ultralights. But in researching the toy haulers that we've been looking at, the average toy haulers, the floor is 45 compared to 11 here, and the roof is usually R40-ish, and the sidewalls are R11. You want your trailer to be really insulated so that you're not wasting your propane.
Kind of a no-brainer.
It is kind of a no-brainer, but also if you're a weekend camper or weekend warrior, it's not going to be as important because you're going to be able to pick and choose what weather you want to camp in.
The higher the R values, the more comfortable things are. Cheap building material cost.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff in here is small little press board. It is all stapled and glued together. There is very little screws in Wendy, and or at least ones that I haven't added. Even the cabinetry and stuff like that, at this point in time, 4 years into it, the legit hinges are just coming out of the press wood that they're drilled into.
When you have so much wear and tear, especially if you have kids, you need things that are going to hold up, that are quality. And unfortunately, a lot of the RVs on the market don't have that quality, but especially the ultralights. Last but not least, and this might be the most important, I don't know, it's the chassis that the RV sits on. A lot of times in an ultralight trailer, they're trying to cut weight anywhere they can, and so they're going to use thinner steel, which can bend and twist easier than a heavier unit.
Yep, especially on something like this model, which is so long because it sits on essentially a big rectangular steel frame. And if it's not cross-supported properly, it can, if we're looking at it like this, it can torque or twist like this going down the road because how long it is. That was one of the great things about working with MORI that we did, where we got those cross members installed before we went to Alaska, and that helps just kind of reinforce the whole frame.
Yeah.
That might also be why we're having, or have had, so much trouble with all of our leaf springs and holders and brackets and things, because it's just not boxed up as beefy, it's like I said throughout the whole video, as it could be.
You can't put as much cargo inside when you have a thinner frame on the bottom. So oftentimes ultralight trailers have less cargo capacity than regular ones, which does affect full-timers because we bring our whole entire life with us. We hope that this has been helpful. I know when I was trying to look up this information online, it was hard to get like just give me a list of what is different about an ultralight trailer. So hopefully this has been helpful for you if you're in the market, and if not, that you might have just found it interesting. We're going to take a little bit of a step back, and we're going to be doing Real Talk Tuesday every other Tuesday instead of every Tuesday. Putting out 2 videos a week is a lot of work, and especially while we're looking for houses, or a house, and an RV, and we just feel like we have a lot of things going on in the background. So we still have some great content for you, and we love bringing you the Real Talks. I know a lot of you love Real Talk Tuesday. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. No. We're just moving to an every other Tuesday format. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you out there.